No, my name is Kel O in Alcala. I live in the Bay Area, and I've been brewing for probably going on about 4 years now. I really give a lot of thought and consciousness. There's purpose in the beer. It's not just making beer to get drunk. You know, the short time that we have on this earth, it's really nice to find something you're passionate about and get into it. I work at Oak Barrel Wine Craft, an establishment that's been around for about 52 years now. Had the virtue of my wife bringing me a Mr. Beer kit home one day from Bed Bath & Beyond and saying, this looks like something you'd be interested in. And lo and behold, it shifted my life.
I was always kind of interested in good beer from probably back in the days when I started drinking it first, especially in college. There was a lot of keg beer. It was really bad where I went to school. Anything that looked like this usually tasted a lot better, so I got interested in good beer. When I first started, I brewed in an old, gallon and a half, 2 gallon noodle pot, did my ferment in a plastic bucket, and I got some pretty nice beer out of it. And anybody can do that, right in the stovetop in your kitchen. It's not that hard. My name's Shephard. I live in El Cerrito, California, and I work in a biotech company doing product development work.
My name is Michael Frenn. I come out of Placerville, California. You know, I'm a certified judge, and a big part of that beer evaluation, is both aroma and flavors, and so you develop the ability to pick those up. And so you give me a glass of water and probably instinctively get to go, I'm going to smell it first, And so now you do that with all your foods and wine. A lot of crossover, obviously, with wine. And so it broadens your horizons at multiple levels. This is the Ale Camino. I bought this little baby some years ago to schlep around all my home brewing equipment. The cops don't care, I think if I had taps inside, that might be a different story. Fortunate enough to take Best of Show in the World Cup competition last year with a robust porter, and one of the prizes with that was to brew a batch here at Linden St. So we've got about 10 and a half, 11 barrels of delicious robust porter boiling away in the kettle.
This is actually a fairly new system for me. I've brewed on this 5 or 6 times. This is a fairly standard, what's called kind of often a 3-tier system, although I don't have them on tiers. But there's 3 containers involved in the brew. There's this one back here, which is a hot liquor tank. It's got some water in it now. It's just used for heating up water. That's used in the sparge. This is the mash tun, which is where you actually mix the grain with the water and do the mash, which is a conversion of starch into sugar. And it's got a filter bottom, so when that conversion is done, we'll start running it out through the bottom and collecting the results, and they will go in there, which is the kettle. So we'll do the boil in here, and then we'll cool it down. I have an immersion coil chiller. The yeast I've got sitting here, this is actually some yeast from previous ferment, so I'm just bringing it out to warm up a bit. It's a fairly good load in there. We're not even going to use all of it for what we're doing here tonight. Probably about a quarter of that will go in each of the fermenters that I'm going to make. You can get started in a very simple system, and I think you can buy pretty much a complete homebrew setup kit at most of the homebrew shops. They probably have a few different grades, but anywhere between 50 to 100 to 150, depending on what grade setup kit, will have all the equipment you need, except maybe a pot. And you probably have a pot you can use for that already. So it's not that big a deal for a hobby to get set up to do this.
Well, I look at it like this. I mean, I love to fish. I've always loved to fish, and I've gone out many days out in the ocean. You spend a lot on fuel, you spend a lot on equipment, just the entire day is a day of your time, and you come back with no fish. You do that because it's a passion, it's a hobby, it's something you really love to do. So for me, I talk about beer all day, but as soon as I get off work, I try and come home and brew. And it's just something I'm really passionate about. And I think that's how it is for a lot of the home brewers.
Most people are aware of lagers and pilsners, and they're probably even aware of stout with Guinness. And they might even know of an IPA, maybe. But when you start getting into porters and Hefeweizens and lambics and Belgian wit beers and everything, it's really like stepping into a completely different universe. The Belgian beers in particular, after I'd been brewing for a while, then I had my very first Belgian beer, it was like, oh my gosh, a totally new dimension. in beers. So it just kind of feeds on itself, you know.
So it's not just something you do in your kitchen or garage and sit there and drink beer all day or all night with a couple of your buddies who come over. There's definitely a scene that revolves around this. There's a very active club scene in the Bay Area.
And we do thrive off of each other, other people's ideas, other people's techniques, the ability to hang out with other brewers and see someone else brew. For a lot of people, that's an enlightening experience because they see that someone does something that can make their steps a little bit easier and make it a more pleasurable brew day. It's a great community to be involved in, to be a part of, and also just to know these people, because I've made some lifelong friends that I would have never made otherwise. People from completely different walks of life.
As we say, give a man a beer, he'll waste an afternoon, but teach a man to brew, he'll waste a lifetime. Yeah, it's how it is.